The biblical story of Egypt. In the ancient world, beside the flowing waters of the Nile River, rose one of the greatest civilizations in human history. Its name was Egypt. Massive pyramids towered over the desert. Golden temples reflected sunlight across the land. Pharaohs ruled with absolute power, believing themselves to be gods among men. But Egypt's greatest story was not written on stone walls or buried beneath pyramids. It was written in the Bible. The story of Egypt began during the days of Abraham, when famine struck the land of Canaan. Seeking survival, Abraham journeyed into Egypt, a kingdom already rich, powerful, and feared throughout the ancient world. Years later came a young man named Joseph. Joseph was betrayed by his own brothers and sold into slavery. Bound in chains, he was taken into Egypt as a servant. At first, everything seemed lost. Joseph was falsely accused and thrown into prison. But even in darkness, God was preparing him for something greater. When Pharaoh began having terrifying dreams that nobody could explain, Joseph was brought before him. With wisdom from God, Joseph revealed that Egypt would experience 7 years of abundance followed by 7 years of famine. Pharaoh was amazed. In one moment, Joseph rose from prisoner to ruler over Egypt. Under Joseph's leadership, Egypt stored food and survived the famine. Soon, people from many nations traveled to Egypt seeking grain, including Joseph's own brothers. In an emotional reunion, Joseph forgave the brothers who betrayed him, and the family of Israel settled peacefully in Egypt. But generations passed. A new pharaoh rose to power who did not remember Joseph. As the Israelites grew in number, Pharaoh became afraid and forced them into slavery. The people who once found refuge in Egypt now suffered beneath cruel oppression. They worked endlessly beneath the burning desert sun, building cities and monuments for Pharaoh's kingdom. Still, the Israelites continued multiplying. Then Pharaoh gave a terrible command. Every Hebrew baby boy was to be killed. But one child survived. His name was Moses. To save him, his mother placed baby Moses inside a basket along the Nile River. By divine providence, Pharaoh's daughter discovered the child and raised him inside the royal palace of Egypt. Moses grew up surrounded by Egypt's power and wealth, but he never forgot his true identity. One day, after seeing an Egyptian abusing a Hebrew slave, Moses fled into the wilderness. Years later, while tending sheep near Mount Horeb, Moses saw something impossible, a bush burning with fire that was not consumed. From the flames, God spoke. God commanded Moses to return to Egypt and deliver his people from slavery. Though afraid, Moses obeyed. He stood before Pharaoh and declared the words that would shake an empire. "Let my people go." But Pharaoh refused. Then Egypt witnessed one of the greatest displays of divine judgment in biblical history. The Nile River turned to blood. Frogs covered the land. Locusts destroyed crops. Darkness consumed Egypt for days. Still Pharaoh hardened his heart. Finally came the last plague. Every firstborn in Egypt would die during the night. But God instructed the Israelites to place lamb's blood upon their doors so death would pass over them. That night, Egypt wept. Pharaoh finally surrendered. After centuries of slavery, the Israelites walked out of Egypt as free people. But Pharaoh soon changed his mind. Egyptian chariots thundered across the desert as Pharaoh's army pursued the Israelites toward the Red Sea. Trapped between the sea and the approaching army, fear spread through the people. Then Moses lifted his staff. Suddenly, the waters of the Red Sea parted. Towering walls of water rose on both sides, while the Israelites crossed on dry ground. When Pharaoh's army followed, the waters crashed down and destroyed them. Egypt's power free. Centuries later, Egypt appeared again during another important moment in biblical history. A child named Jesus Christ was born in Bethlehem. But when King Herod sought to kill the child, Joseph and Mary fled with baby Jesus into Egypt for safety. Once again, Egypt became a place of refuge. The same land that once enslaved God's people now protected the Savior of the world. Throughout history, Egypt became known for its pyramids, temples, treasures, and powerful kings. But the Bible reveals a deeper truth. Even the greatest empires cannot stand forever. Pharaohs once believed they ruled like gods. Their armies conquered nations. Their monuments touched the skies. Yet time humbled every kingdom. Only God's power remained eternal. The biblical story of Egypt is more than the story of a nation. It is a story of slavery and freedom, pride and judgment, fear and faith. From Joseph rising from prison to power, to Moses confronting Pharaoh, to the parting of the Red Sea, and the protection of the child Jesus. Egypt became one of the most unforgettable lands in all of biblical history. And even today, thousands of years later, its story continues to inspire the world.